Well, this is pretty exciting. I just received my new Ariel Rider e-bike. Of course, it came on a snowy day. It's 24th of January. It's really cold outside. I have no heat in my garage, so I brought this thing down into my wood shop, and I'm going to put it together down here, and I guess I'll kind of take you along with me here. This is not really going to be like a full unboxing video or anything like that. There's a million of them on YouTube. This is just me with my new toy, and I've already ordered a bunch of accessories for it, and I've started receiving a lot of the accessories, and I'll try to video some of those as I change some of the parts over on this. So I'm going to cut these bands off, I guess, and pop the top and see what it looks like. It came UPS, and surprisingly, it's not all beat up. The box is in really good shape. I mean, these things come out of Washington, of course, out of China, so they've been on a freighter, they've come across the sea, they've been in a container, they got transferred to the facility wherever it's at, then they get shipped out, and it's been on a UPS truck from Washington all the way to here. It took a week for it to get here, and the box is in remarkable shape. I can't believe how good a condition it is. I've had other things that have come from UPS from less distance that were just destroyed. I mean, it's got one little smack here, but I mean, for the most part, the box is in really good shape. I see a shoe print, so somebody did stand on the box. Well, that could have happened anywhere. This corner down here on the bottom, it's taken a whack, but it's not horrible. It doesn't look really bad. So, all in all, kudos to UPS, which I don't usually give them very often because they usually destroy my stuff. But this one seems to have come in pretty good shape. So I'm going to get these bands off here and pop the lid and see what she looks like inside. So this bike, like I say, there's a million YouTube videos of these things. This bike is, they call it a Class 2 e-bike, but really it's an electric moped. It's got a huge motor in it. It's got a big battery, big fat tires. It looks like a moped. You can pedal it. It does have a 7-speed, I believe it is, Shimano derailleur, so you can pedal it, but after a while this thing, it goes so fast that it's going to go faster than you can pedal. So you'll pedal it to get it started, and then you're pretty much just relying on motor. So at least it's nice and warm here in the shop. So let's see if we can pop these staples. Oh boy. Stapled and glued. So one thing I think it's kind of cool about the box, look at this. They make it look like it's a TV. So maybe that's why it got here in such good shape, because maybe UPS is thinking there's a TV in here and they don't want to get a bunch of claims against them for damage, because look at this. It looks like a TV. It says Ariel Rider right here, but nowhere else. It says Ariel Rider, but nowhere does it say that it's a bike. Look at this, a box within a box. Okay, that's kind of cool. Let's see if I can not cut myself on these staples. Pop this box. Oh, that one was easy. It wasn't glued. Oh yeah. Very cool. Very exciting. Beautiful. Packed really well. In fact, I want to get a picture of this. I take pictures of everything. Photo document everything. That way you're covered in case there is a problem. You've got some kind of documentation. we got here? Just a piece of foam. Oh yeah, it's beautiful. I ordered it in black. Here, I'm going to bring you guys over so you can see. So, excuse me, I'm going to pick this up, carry this over. Yeah, that's pretty cool, huh? Very exciting. I imagine there's accessories in that cardboard box. Probably the charger and the battery. I mean, look at the tires on this thing. Those are huge. Actually, the funny thing is I'm probably going to be changing these tires. I want something that's a little more puncture resistant because I'm going to use this as a commuter going back and forth to work. So, you know, here in Michigan, I'm going to put this back over here on the counter. Actually, I got it sitting on my table saw. Here in Michigan, the moped laws are you ride them to the right of the road like a bicycle. Well, where does all the debris come from? You know, all the staples and nails and glass and screws and all the crap that can puncture a tire. Where does it all go? It all goes to the right side of the road. So mopeds are, you know, they get a lot of flats, unfortunately. So I'm going to try to do some things to prevent it. Now, these tires are supposed to have some kind of armor protection in them, but from what I hear, it's not real thick and it doesn't really do a whole lot. So I've got some different tires that I'm going to put on here. They're a little bit beefier of a tire. They might not be quite as wide. Of course, I won't know until I get them inflated and get a good look at them and see how they look. But they should be much more puncture resistant. All right, so I'm going to pause the camera for a second here. Basically, I took a minute and I took all the staples out of the box before one of them lays me open while I'm reaching in the box trying to get all the goodies out of it. This is the accessory box. I'm sure that this is the charger and the pedals, and they give you a pretty groovy little toolkit. What else is in here? Some hardware. I guess we'll figure out what all this stuff is as we go along. Oh, look at that, a little bottle of touch-up paint. That's pretty cool. So, some wire loom. Ah, look at this. Instructions, owner's manual. Gotta love that. Alright, that's pretty cool. Love their logo. That's really cool. Alright, so I pulled all the staples out of the box. Now everybody that I see on YouTube says you should have help when you get this thing out of the box. But I'm home alone today and I have no help. Can I get this out of the box? I don't know. This is a heavy bike. It's like 80 pounds or something like that. I don't know what it weighs. It's heavy. But I'm going to try it. So if I don't get it, hey, you're going to see it and you get to laugh at me or with me, whichever one it may be. So, got all the staples out. Let's see if I can do this. Gotta find some place to grab it. Oh my! Oh. Not too bad for an old man. I just hope it doesn't fall over. Okay, is there anything else in the box? Nope, empty box. It's packed really well. Of course, you know, like everything else, 10,000 zip ties on it. But you know, it was packed really well. I gotta give him credit. Really nice, sturdy box. Reinforced where it needed to be. This is that plastic panel that was up against the derailleur. So I mean, they did a really good job packaging it. So now I'm going to get a pair of wire cutters and cut the 10,000 zip ties off of it. They do also put on here, which is kind of cool. If I can come over here and show you. There's like a little a little platform that the fork bolts onto for shipping. And you take that off, of course, to put the front wheel on, but that's kind of a nice touch. Keeps the fork from getting bent if it does take a whack. So, wow, really cool. Really cool. Love this. What a beautiful bike. Comes in a lot of colors. You can get it in red, which is really nice from what I understand. You can get it in blue. You know, and I kind of like those colors, but I really like the black too. It just kind of looks cool in a moped style bike. It's, I don't know, kind of a sinister look. So, you know, it's black and gold and yellow, so I guess I'm going to continue that theme, and any accessories that I put on it are either going to be black or gold or yellow. So, let me see if I can get into my toolbox. I'll start cutting some of these zip ties. This is not my mechanic shop. This is my wood shop. But it's warm, it's dry, it's heated. So yeah, I'm gonna have to get this thing back up the stairs. My shop is in the basement. My wood shop is in the basement. So I guess when I get this all done, the next task is gonna be getting it up the stairs. I guess I could ride it up the stairs. Not. So, let's see if I can get this in the center of the room here so I can work around it. Well, I see something cool here. Let me see if I can find some wire cutters. There we go. Those. Yeah, these will work. 10,000 zip ties. Look. Keys. I like that. This is for taking the battery out. So they give you a nice, they give you 2 keys. That's pretty cool. They're numbered. I guess if I ever needed a replacement, that I should write that number down somewhere. Alright, let's see now. I got holding the wheel on. I'm one of these guys that when I cut zip ties off, I try to cut them off so that I can reuse them. Look at that wheel. Now, Michigan roads, right? I am not afraid of bumps and potholes with a wheel like that. Look at that wheel. Disc brake. I'm not a fan of these reflectors. I mean, you gotta have reflectors. You really do. I mean, in my opinion, from a safety standpoint, you gotta have reflectors. But I got something kind of special planned for this, and you'll see what that is when I get it. Like I said, I got a lot of stuff ordered for this. What else is in this bag? Fender. Front fender. Alright, I don't need this bubble wrap. That can go in the garbage. Get the packing off the stem. Here your handlebars go. It's adjustable. You can raise it up or lower it down. This thing comes with a pretty low set handlebar setup that I'm not really a fan of. I'm a little bit too old. My bend over doesn't work so good anymore. So I want something, instead of being down like this, I would like to be a little bit more upright. So again, I got different handlebars coming for it. A lot of guys change the handlebars on them. I'm going to be one of those guys. Let's see what else we got here. Zip tie city. About that one. Well, that's holding the handlebar on. Beautiful paint. Really cool. I like black. It's easy to touch up. You know, it's a bike. It's going to get used. It's going to get its share of bumps and scratches and nicks and dings. And I mean, if you use it, it's going to happen. You're kidding yourself if you think it's not. If it wasn't going to happen, Ariel wouldn't have sent you a bottle of touch-up paint with it. So I think that's kind of another thing that I like about black is, you know, you can touch it up. Not a big deal. Wow, there's a lot of zip ties on here. See if I can get these zip ties off without knocking the bike over and getting its first scratch. I will say this, I think that it's very well packaged. I think they did a great job on wrapping it, protecting it. Look at this fork. Upside down motorcycle style fork. Adjustment. You could lock out here, you can make it firm or soft with this adjustment here. Very cool. And there's the big honking battery. Look at this battery. This one here is a 52 volt, 18 amp hour. Very cool. Should give you great power. Hopefully it gives you a decent range. I mean, my commute back and forth to work is about 11 miles. It's like 5.5 miles one way. So it's going to be plenty for what I'm going to use it for. It's funny because I rebuild bicycles. Vintage Schwinn's is really my thing. I really like to do you know, the big cruisers, you know, the big balloon tire bikes of the day back in the 50s, 60s, 70s. Those are the kind of bikes that I like. And so this is a new venture for me. Wow, I just can't get over it. It's beautiful. What a great looking bike. So, you know, what do I do for a living? I'm a CDL truck driver. I drive tractor trailer. I do heavy haul. You know, my trucking loads generally go 100,000, 110,000. And how am I going to get back and forth to work? On a moped. I also have a 1980 Honda Express, and I'll never get rid of that. It's a cool little moped from back in the day, you know, in the 70s and 80s. I actually worked in a moped shop. I was a moped mechanic, and you know, I remember when the Honda Expresses first came out, they were the precursor to the Honda Spree. And the Honda Spree was the machine that was responsible for killing the moped industry. I mean, back in the day, there was, I don't know, there was a bunch of manufacturers, all different kinds of manufacturers of mopeds. They came from everywhere: Holland, France, Italy, everywhere. I mean, they were from all over. Austria, Germany. You know, there was Pooks and Vespas and Peugeots and Batavus and Motobacan, and you know, there was all kinds of different brands, and they all slowly went away. Mostly because all the kids of the day, they wanted that damn Honda Express, and then they wanted that Honda Spree, and it pretty much killed the moped industry. Now, it's kind of funny because if I go full circle now, things are kind of making a turn and they're kind of coming back. And this kind of bike right here is getting really, really popular. But now, what do you got here? Now you have an electric moped that you could actually, you can really pedal this thing. Whereas the mopeds back in the day in the 80s, you weren't pedaling them. The only thing the pedals were for was for starting them, and that you could point at the pedals, and if a cop pulled you over and say, it's a moped, leave me alone, you know? So I'm kind of hoping that I have the same thing with this, and I don't get hassled. You know, maybe the cops will leave me alone, I don't know. But I think part of it is, it's got the Class 2 sticker right here. It says Class 2. Now, myself and every other person that buys this moped, this e-bike, knows there's no way in hell this is a Class 2 moped. Now, it's got a 1,000-watt hub motor. Most e-bikes, about the biggest motor you're going to see on them is a 750 watt. This is 1,000 watt, and it peaks at 2,000 watt. That's ridiculous power. That is all kinds of power. This bike will do 30 mile an hour for 20 miles on battery power only, and you'll never have to pedal it. It'll be fine. So, is it a Class 2 e-bike? No. I don't believe that it is. Honestly, if a cop asked me and I had to give him my honest opinion, I would have to say no. It's, even though it's got the sticker on it, and it's got pedals and gears, and it's every part of it, it says that it's a bicycle, it looks like a moped, and because of the power that it has, it's an electric moped. I don't care what anybody says, it's an electric moped. Having known that before I bought it, that's why I bought it. I bought it because I wanted something bigger than an e-bike. Now this is my first venture into an electric powered anything. So this is my first e-machine, my first mode of transportation with electric power. I'm all about electric power. I think it's the coolest thing. I dig it just because it's quieter. You don't have to go to gas stations. You don't have the exhaust smell. You don't have all the maintenance that goes along with a gasoline or an internal combustion engine. You don't have all that stuff that goes along with it. You don't have the weight of it. I can just plug it in when I want to charge it. I can plug it in overnight, get up in the morning, and then she's going to be charged and ready to go. I like everything about electric power. I'm not a fan of electric machines because of save the environment. That's not what I'm all about. Okay, that's all well and good, but that's not the reason why I'm all about electric power. I like electric power because it's 100% torque from 0 RPM, whereas a gasoline engine, it takes forever to build torque. That's the biggest thing. So they're fast, they're efficient. Yeah, you know, everybody's got range anxiety. That's what it's all about. But for what I'm going to use this for, I think it's going to be fine. You know, I don't have a 30-mile one-way trip to go to work. I go 6 miles, 5.5 miles. So for me, it's going to be fine. And then on the weekend, I can goof around. I can go for a ride, you know. So I think I'm going to pause this camera here for a minute. Now you got a good view of what she looks like. I think it's a beautiful bike. I'm going to pause the camera, and I'm going to see if I can get the front wheel on, and then I can get the kickstand down, and the bike should hold itself up, because right now I'm just really nervous about knocking it over. I don't really want to do that. And then when I get a little bit more along in the assembly, I'll come back. So I'm going to pause. Well, so I got most of the zip ties off. And I will say this, Ariel, they also give you a pretty nice toolkit. I think it has a wrench to fit just about everything. Are they, you know, super high quality wrenches? No, they're not. They're stamped out Chinese wrenches, but I'll tell you what, I'm going to carry them in my little tool bag that I'm going to have on this bike, just because you never know what's going to happen on the road. They give you enough tools, you can assemble this bike. If you don't have any tools, you can assemble this bike. Of course, you're going to need something to cut all the zip ties off. I've seen people do them with scissors. I've seen people do them with zip ties, with razor blades, so there's a lot of ways that you could do this. Wow, the handlebar's low. I'll tell you what, I am not nothing like that. I'm going to put it on here just so it's all together so the handlebars aren't dangling and banging around. But I can tell you what, this is something that I'm definitely going to change real soon. That's just personal preference. I mean, that's nothing on the fault of the bike. I mean, there are other bikes, they have upright handlebars, but this one here, I think they made this one to be kind of like a speedster. It's only a lot of their bikes are dual wheel drive. This is only a single wheel drive, but it's got the big battery. It's got the big motor. So I think they kind of made this one to be like their hot rod, their flagship hot rod, without being the all-terrain bike, which not that I was looking for. I looked at their other bikes. Man, they got some cool bikes. They got the Grizzly that they have. Same thing. It's 52 volt. It's 2 batteries, and it's 2 motors. It's got 2,000 watt motors. It's got a 1,000 watt motor in the front wheel, a 1,000 watt motor in the rear wheel. I mean, the thing is absolutely badass, but it's not what I want. I think it's heavy. I really don't need, I'm not going to be trail riding a whole lot. I might do a little bit here and there, but it's not the main reason why I bought it. Look at this. I'm just going to snug this just so that you don't move around on me. This is not what I want for it. Nice controller. All the components are really nice on this. It's got hydraulic brakes. The grips they're okay. Not really my cup of tea, but they're okay. Quarter turn throttle, I like that. So you don't have to, turn it half a turn. Quarter turn throttle, it's kind of like on dirt bikes and stuff like that. It's a nice thing to have. A lot of these components on this bike are very much like a motorcycle. If you come from a motorcycle background, which I do, and I've been riding motorcycles since I was a kid, this thing is right up my alley. Okay, so the next thing that I need to do, like I said, the handlebars are on there just snug, they're not tight. I just so that I didn't want them dangling around and bashing into the bike and stretching it up. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that shipping spacer off of the front fork, and I'm going to get the front wheel on. But I'm going to turn the camera off to do that, because it might be a little boring. So I'll be back. Okay, I want to talk about something here. All the YouTube videos that I see on these things, I can't tell you how many of them I've seen where these guys have put these together and they leave the fender just like that. Seriously? I mean, come on. You can tell. This piece here in the front, it needs to come up. This needs to come down. It needs to be more coplanar with the wheel. Right now, I think, if you were to leave it like that and you were to hit a bump, you'd be bottoming out on the fender. Not to mention the fact that it just looks stupid. Why would you leave it? Why would you spend this much money for a bike? They give you every tool that you need in the toolkit to fix it. Well, the fix on this is really, really simple. They give you this nice little T-handle, right? And this is a 5mm right here. This is a 5mm. It even tells you on there, in case you're a retard, 5mm. All right, so what it is all you got to do, if you look here, this bracket for the fender is hitting on the headlight mount. So if you loosen that screw right there and that screw right there, take those screws off, take this bracket off, mount the fender on. This is a very thin bracket right here. Once you get the fender mounted, you can bend this over at the top to clear the headlight mount. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. So I'm going to pause it, take care of all that, and then I'll show you what I did. Okay, so here's the fix. You see, that looks a lot better now, right? It's lined up better. Looks, it just looks better, you know. All right, so I took that bracket off. There's the bracket. Use this. These two nuts, they go underneath this, and this, those are just a spacer. That's all that is. All right, so I took that bracket off. And what that did is that allowed this bracket here for the fender to come up past the bracket for the headlight. So now all I got to do is I got to bend this down. So I kind of started it, but it's pretty stout. So I'm going to get a punch, a brass punch, and I'm going to pound that down flat so that then it'll clear the headlight bracket and I can put the headlight bracket on. And you'll notice this is it's bottomed out right here. That's as high as it'll go. Alright? It just looks a lot better. And I can kind of tweak this and get the fender centered on the wheel. But man, I don't know. I just think that looks so much better. So, alright, when I get the headlight on, I'll show you what it all looks like. Okay, so now you can see how I've got this. I got the fender on, right? Got the headlight bracket back on. If you can look way up under there, you can see how I got that little tab bent over to clear the bracket. That's all that people need to do. They probably don't understand that that's all it is. So I got the headlight on. Kind of a cool looking headlight. I like it. It's kind of old school. Big old, like a spotlight look, but it's not like super bright. I'll probably end up changing the bulb in it. It's okay, you know, for what it is. I got the handlebars, got the stem mounted all the way as high as it'll go, and I flattened it out. It's okay. I could ride it the way it is. It's just that at my age, with my back, I'd like it a little bit more upright. That leaning over thing, that's in my past. My bend over is broken. So that's just a comfort thing for me. It's just something, it's a individual preference. Oh, and then there's this. Yeah, it comes with a, well, I can't call it a horn. It comes with a bell. I got to show you this. So this is your horn. Really? Oh, okay, and a panic stop. No, so this is gonna go. You know, this is okay for like a bike path, but in Michigan, e-bikes are not allowed on bike paths. And so it's kind of a joke. I mean, they're forcing you to ride in traffic, which, in my opinion, just pisses off the motorist, which I'm a motorist. I drive vehicles all day long on the road. Personal vehicle, my work truck, I drive a semi. Yeah, and mopeds and scooters and all this stuff on the road. I can see where it can irritate drivers. It can piss them off. So, being that they're not allowing us to ride these e-bikes on bike paths, we can use them in the bike lane in traffic, but you're still out in traffic. So, you know, a bell, really, a ring ding. I mean, it needs like a real horn. So that's one thing that I like about this bike too, is it's more of a moped. It has more presence on the road. It's a little bigger. People take it a little more seriously. They don't go, yeah, idiots out there on a bicycle blocking up traffic. So, you know, will that mean anything? I don't know. It's pretty cool though. It's got full suspension, inverted front fork. It's got suspension in the back. It's a little stiff. You know, I haven't played around with it much. You know, the back suspension doesn't have a lot of travel. I think that the tires absorb more of the impact than anything else. And I know some of the guys have changed the rear shock to a mountain bike shock, and they seem to be pretty happy with that. It softens it up a little bit to absorb some of the bumps a little bit more. Now look, I'm not going to be jumping this thing. It's not a BMX bike. It's a road bike. So if it just absorbs the hit from a pothole a little bit better, you know, or cracks in the cement or whatever the case may be, that's all I'm looking for. If it softens up the ride a little bit, makes it a little bit more comfortable, That's all I'm looking for. But other than that, man, I gotta tell you, I love this bike. It's really cool. You know, this is my very first electric bike. And so, of course, my very first one, you know, after doing research on these things for like a year, I said, I know what I want. I want one that's got power. I want one that's going to be fast. And I know what my primary use of it's going to be. And you got to be honest with yourself when you're choosing an e-bike. What is your real use of it going to be for? For me, it's going to be a commuter. I'm going to ride it back and forth to work. I'm not going to spend any money on gas. I'm not going to put any miles on my vehicle. It'll make my vehicle, my pickup truck, last forever because I'll ride this thing. When the weather's bad, I'll drive the truck. If it's, you know, in the wintertime like right now, cold and snowing, well, you know, that's when you drive your truck. But when the weather's nice, you know, it's, what do you get, 9 months out of the year really that you could ride this thing in Michigan anyway. I mean, yeah, you know, in the spring you're going to get it out earlier, you know, when you get a 40-degree day, 50-degree day, it feels warm when you've been in the single digits. You know, so you hit 40 degrees, it feels warm. You're going to be on your bike. In the fall, you get a 40-degree day, you're going to think twice about it because you've just come out of 60, 70, 80-degree weather, and those days when it's 40 degrees, it feels a little cold. Now the good thing is I'm not commuting that far. I'm only going 5 miles. So I'll throw a pair of gloves on, I'll throw a heavy jacket on, I'll throw a helmet on, and away I go. You know, and yes, on this bike, I will wear a helmet. On a bicycle, I probably wouldn't. But on this thing, it goes 30 miles an hour. I kind of like my brains inside my head. That's where they belong. So I'll wear a helmet. You know, if I crash and I break a leg, no big deal. It'll heal. If you break your egg, you crush your skull, you're done. You're a vegetable. So wear a helmet. You know, if you got a $10 head, put it in a $10 helmet. So what I'm saying there is, get a good helmet. Don't buy a cheapy helmet. Actually, I'm going to buy a real good mountain biking helmet, BMX helmet. It'll protect my head enough in a fall without having to have the weight of a full-on motorcycle helmet. So I'm still putting this thing together. I got the handlebars adjusted up as high as they'll go. I'm putting the pedals on now. And what a lot of people that maybe don't work on bikes and don't know a lot about bikes is if you look at these pedals, you see they're, can I get up there, camera? Is it focusing? Okay, they're right and left, and it's specific. You have to get these pedals on the right side. The right pedal goes on the right side, the left pedal goes on the left side, and the left-hand pedal is reverse thread. In other words, it's a left-hand thread. It's not righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. You turn it counterclockwise to tighten it. The right pedal is normal. You turn it clockwise to tighten it. So that's the only thing you got to be really aware of. These are Well-Go pedals. They're metal pedals. They're not bad. You know, I'll use them for a while, but I can see myself blinging it out and getting something, I don't know, a little nicer, and just, I don't know, why not? So, I mean, like I say, for what it is, for what I paid for this bike, okay, here let's talk about that. What did I pay for this bike? I paid $2,200 including shipping. Shipping was paid for. I didn't have to pay shipping. I did pay for insurance. I insured it just because the last couple of big expensive things that I got through UPS, the boxes were absolutely destroyed. One of the items I had was damaged, and it just delayed everything because I had to send it back, and they sent me another one, and blah, blah, blah. So just to cover my butt on this one, they offered an insurance. I think it was $60 or something like that to insure it. I insured it. That was, to me, that was money well spent. Now, thankfully, this thing came unscathed. It was in great shape. You could see where it took a hit on a couple of places. Like I said, the derailleur guard saved it. This little, you know, wheel bracket that the front fork was mounted to, it took a hit. You know, it's broken. So, you know, it did get bounced around a little bit. Like I said, it's traveled a long way from China and all the way across the country, and then, you know, on a UPS truck. I mean, let's face it, UPS is not the kindest to boxes. They really are not. Having said that, they move a ton of freight every day. You know, it's a hustle. I understand it. These guys don't know what's in the boxes. They're just getting their job done. I get it. So I paid $2,200 for it plus insurance. To me, that's money well spent. This is the best bang for the buck that I found, and I've been researching these bikes for almost a year before I finally decided to buy one. When I first started researching these, I think this bike was, I don't know, $1,800 or something like that. But with COVID and all that, everything has gone up. Everything has gone up. E-bikes, the popularity of e-bikes has just exploded in the last year or two. And they become super popular. And everybody and their mother's got an e-bike now. And you got to be really careful about what you're buying. Whether or not you're going to be able to get parts for it and what the quality of it is. This is all quality components. These are all the Samsung LG batteries in the battery pack. The battery pack is very well made. It's a Bafang motor and it has metal gears in the motor. Very few of these hub drive motors have metal gears. Now, they're a little bit noisier with the metal gears, but they'll handle the torque that this motor puts out and it won't break the plastic gears. Excuse me. So all quality components, all Shimano components as far as the derailleur and everything goes. The brakes are Tektros. They're hydraulic Tektros, which is it's a good brand. I mean, come on, I got hydraulic brakes on an e-bike for $2,200 with a 1,000-watt motor and an 18 amp hour battery. I think that's just a phenomenal buy. It's just a great buy. So money wise, could I have gotten one for cheaper? Sure. Would it have been as good? Not even close. I don't think anybody comes close to this. I researched a lot of these bikes from some of the other manufacturers. I looked at the Super 73. I looked at, there's another one out there that looks more of like a moped, and it's got more of a step-through frame, and right now the name of it is escaping me. And I came close to getting that particular bike with the step-through frame, just because I'm all about comfort. I want comfort. At my age, I'm 62, I'm not a kid, I'm not motocrossing, I'm in fairly decent physical condition for an old man, but hey, I'm carrying a few extra pounds, I've had a back surgery, I am aging. I have to be honest with myself. I'm still active, I still do what I can do, but I try to be smart about it. So I looked at the step-through version of the bike. What was that? I can't remember what the name of that bike was. It's going to drive me nuts now. But what steered me away from it, it was a little bit more money, and that wasn't a big deal. I liked it because it had mag wheels instead of spoke wheels. They're a little more durable, and I thought that was kind of cool, and I liked the comfort of the step-through frame. And it had higher handlebars. It would have set me up higher. And I think it would have been like, I don't know, something like $800 more for this bike. Why did I not pull the trigger on it? Because all the reviews that I read online, they had some problems with it and absolutely horrible customer service. Same thing with the Super 73. They had some problems with it. I guess their customer service has improved, but still didn't have a real good track record. So it's like, do I want to take a chance? No. So this bike with a full suspension, for what it is, the power and everything that it has, and the size of the battery, and people, they say that they've had issues, and the customer service with Ariel Rider has been really, really good, and they've taken care of their customers. And that's important. So that's why I went with it. Money well spent, in my opinion. Like I said, it's a great bike. It really is. Look at it. It's beautiful. You can get a long seat for it if you want. Some tall riders might want a long seat. I'm not a big guy. I'm only like 5'9". I'm a little porky, about 190 pounds, but I'm not a big guy, so I don't really need the big seat. What I'm going to put on here, I'm putting a milk crate on here. I got a black milk crate. I'm going to make some brackets to mount to a hole, so holes are already here. They offer a rack for it, but they're sold out. They have no idea when they're going to come back in. In the way that I intend to mount the milk crate on here, I really don't know if I'm going to need the rack anyway. The only thing cool about the rack was it had a couple little hoops that came down, and it would have been a good place to tie it down, like if you were going to put it on a motorcycle carrier on your vehicle or something like that. But like I said, for me, this is a commuter. So what do I need the milk crate for? Because when I go to work and I'm a truck driver, I carry a backpack, and in my backpack is all the supplies that I need for trucking. I have some basic tools in there that I might need when I'm trucking. I have my clipboard for my logs and my paperwork and all that stuff. I just carry some essentials in there. Now, of course, you got to have masks. I carry an extra pair of glasses. I carry a pair of sunglasses, gloves, things like that. All the things that I need for my daily task and my daily chores every day in trucking are in that backpack. Okay, so the backpack is going to go in here, and what else does a trucker need? coffee. I drink coffee from the time I get up in the morning till the time I go to bed. So I got a big giant thermos, and that's going to go in the backpack too. I can throw all that stuff in the, excuse me, it's going to go in the milk crate as well. I can throw all that stuff in the milk crate. Off to work I go. You know, it's going to be a great little tool. So I'm going to pause the camera. I'm going to put these on, and I think I should probably, I'm at the point now where I need to charge the battery. I did turn on the light, test the light. The headlights, okay, you know, I think it needs a brighter bulb. That's all it really needs. I like the look of the light, but I think it needs a better bulb. So, at any rate, I'm going to say goodbye for a minute, and maybe I'll be back. Okay, so another thing that I'm going to say about this is to go around and tighten everything. Just because sometimes things get missed, and I've done that, and I did find some fasteners that I considered kind of loose, and they probably would have rattled loose. It's got passenger foot pegs, and they're beefy. I mean, they're really nice. They're all metal. A couple of the screws were a little bit loose. So I would say, you know, go around and tighten everything down. The little bag of hardware that I saw, look what it says on it. Extra screws. That's a nice touch. Really nice touch, Ariel. I'm going to pause the camera. I think the battery's about to go dead. Okay, so anyway, where was I? So I was talking about this bag of screws that they give you. This is pretty cool. They give you screws for everything. Even this long screw is what holds the front fender on. I mean, I don't know, that's just kind of a nice little touch. And if you notice, all the screws have got thread sealant on them. They've all got blue Loctite on them. I found that most of the screws that I was putting on the bike or removing from the bike that I put the accessories on all had blue Loctite on them. And that's kind of a nice touch too. So let's talk about a couple other things here. Let's see if I can, I'm going to go handheld with you guys. So forgive the shakiness. I hope you don't get seasick here. So I'm taking a little GoPro off here. And we're going to look at this. Look at this toolkit they give you. I mean, this was in the front brake disc, or in the front brake caliper rather, and you got to remove this when you put the front wheel on. Don't throw this away. Keep this, because if you ever do any work on the bike, if you ever get a flat or whatever, and you got to pull the front wheel off, it'll be nice to have this to put back in that caliper to keep the brake pad spaced out so that it's easier for you to get the rotor back in the caliper. But look at the toolkit. I mean, really, okay, the screwdriver's kind of basic, it's kind of cheesy, you know, but in a pinch, it'll tighten the screw. You got Phillips on one end, standard flat blade on the other end. You got some loose Allen wrenches. You know, you got pretty good assortment of wrenches here. And this is a nice little tool too. This is a nice little T-handle Allen wrench, and they give it all of this in this little bag. So this is going to go in my little accessory bag. And then I have to laugh because look at this. Look at all these. These are all the zip ties I cut off them. Most of these I can reuse. You know, so I just pull the bad piece off, and there I got a good zip tie. I can reuse it for something, you know. Maybe when I redo the handlebars on the bike. So, but anyway, like I say, we're in my wood shop. Just because it's cold outside, but I got enough tools in here to put it together. So there it is. I mean, in my opinion, I think it's a beautiful bike. It's going to get some nice modifications on it. The thing the thing that's cool about these e-bikes, and whether it's this brand or whether it's more of a commuter bike or whatever the case may be, the thing that's cool about these e-bikes is this is like any other bike. You got to fix them up, and you got to put some accessories on them, and you got to make them yours. You got to make it work for what you want it to do. So that's what I'm in the process of doing. I'm in the process of, I just got this bike, I have 0 miles on it, and I'm going to tear it down, and I'm going to be changing stuff, and I'm going to be putting some different doodads on it, and I'm going to make it mine. And I did the same thing with, you know, with my pedal bikes that I have. I got a nice, you know, a 1980s Schwinn mountain bike when they first came out. And back then it was, you know, chromoly frame and everything. They were, back in the day, it was a high-end bike, and I guess it's worth something today because you don't see them very often anymore. And then I've got my old, you know, 50s, 60s, 70s Schwinns, and some of them I restore 100% stock, and others I call them resto mods. I restore them, but I might change some things on them that weren't on the bike 100% when they were made. Just why? Because I ride them, and it's what makes it comfortable for me. So sometimes I make them mine, sometimes I make them 100% restored. This is another thing that I was going to bring up here. Check this key out. This right here, this is a rubber bump stop, and all it's for is when you turn the wheel all the way, it's to hit the frame so that you're not damaging the fork or you're not damaging the frame, and it's on both sides. And I thought, well, that's pretty cool. That's a nice little touch. Can I get under here and show it to you? Can you see it? So when it goes full lock, it hits against a rubber pad. That's a nice touch. That's just one of the things that they did that, I don't know, man, this is a pretty cool bike. I'm really happy with it. So I can't wait till I get some decent weather to ride it. Unfortunately today, we're going to get 2 to 4 inches of snow. It's been snowing all day. It's cold, windy, nasty. I'm not taking this bike out until the snow's gone. So that gives me time to work on it. I can't wait to get out and ride on it because I know I'm going to have a blast on it. But patience, you got to show patience. All right, so I'm going to say goodbye for a minute and I'm going to pause this again.